Welcome back to Sailing Sea Dream at Clyde. In this one, we pick up where we left off in Bellingham, Washington. It was an incredibly breezy week with 4 or 5 gales in a matter of 7 or 8 days. As such, I split my time between being anchored in front of Fairhaven, which is a lot more pleasant than being at the docks, but also over at the Bellingham Yacht Club, where I was able to get cheap and free moorage, where it was nice and safe from those storms that kept rolling on through. When the time came for me to head back to Victoria for work, Kat was able to join me to the San Juans and jumped off at Friday Harbor.
Sailing down on the bottom side of Lummi Island, came through this little channel by Eliza Island, and the wind and the current has helped us out, and we've just got to do one little shot here. And I think we're just going to make this point, and then start heading towards Lopez Island, and go anchor there for the night. Kat has joined me for the first day of the sail back to Victoria, and I'm going to carry on my own, and Kat's going to jump on her bike and ride back on the ferry and along Chuckanut Drive back to Bellingham.
Curve of Time. Thank you, Sharon, for sharing this book.
Lifted John up on the steering seat and left the boat to drift idly under his care, while the rest of us unrolled the chart and tried to discover just where we were. As far as the eye could see, islands, big and little, crowded all around us, each with its wooden slopes rising to the peaks covered with wind-blown firs. Their islands lie among hundreds of other islands on the edge of the Queen Charlotte Sound, and many of them accessible only through narrow, confusing passages.
Well, just like the forecasts in Canada, 10 knots can also mean calm. So there's been a bit of wind, and we did sail the first 10 miles here, but it's about 5:30, and so it's time to get heading to anchor. We're going to head through the area called Obstruction Pass, and there'll be a bit of current against us, but shouldn't be a big deal. Navionics says 2 to 3 knots, so we should be able to find to get through that, and hopefully be at anchor by about 7 o'clock or so.
Tea time in a hurry.
Well, we had a nice chill day here in Swift Bay, I think it's called. And we are going to head to Friday Harbor now, which will be an easier spot for Kat to jump off on her bike on a dock instead of a beach. And not have to ride to the terminal. It'll be right there.
Yeah.
So
We had a really lovely walk earlier today. Walked around Stanley State Park and went out to the Spit and waited for the winds to calm down a little bit too. It was gusting pretty hard.
yeah, it was probably steady 20, gusting even 30 around here for a bit. Really, really gusty would be like kind of almost calm, and then gust. But now it is just a steady 15 or so. So I think we maybe even go full canvas. Might start with a reef main. We'll see how we feel. But we're gonna sail off the anchor here because it's perfect. It's blowing off the beach. We only have a little bit of chain out because it's really shallow here, 10 feet. So don't need to use the windlass much, and should be able to just use the windlass to pull the boat up to above the anchor, and off we go. Let's go.
Yeehaw!
With Kat being fairly new to sailing, the gusty and variable winds of the day were an excellent learning opportunity. The day included reefing, a bunch of tacking, as well as talking about some of the coping strategies for gusty conditions.
Okay, we're underway. Off the anchor here. Got the main up here, as you saw, and off we go.
What? Oh, downwind. Captain Cod. Here.
Have a little sewing to do on the Genoa there, on the UV cover. Kind of doldrums behind Humphrey Head here, right by the Lopez Island ferry terminal. And we're just about to catch our breeze. We're getting all kinds of funky stuff where it's like funneling around and coming from the opposite direction of the main wind. And yeah, any moment though, we're gonna be blasting along here and maybe even reefing. Yes. Going too far. Yeah. Gus. Alright, I remember the camera now. Here, I'll keep rolling. So this is another tactic in these gusty conditions?
Let it out.
Yeah.
Bring it in.
Yeah, through the gusts.
Oh my god.
Okay, you're okay. You're okay. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was really
It'll pull, but you just gotta not let it overtake you.
So just like keep my.
So we'll just battle through this. I'm gonna let the Genoa on some and we'll bear off a bit.
I'm a little nervous.
You got it. Now we gotta go closer.
Oh my gosh, this is scary.
Can we take her?
Well, I don't know. It's like, it's okay to be keeled over like that?
Yeah.
Take the wheel, take the wheel, take the wheel. That's scary.
It's alright.
We definitely feel like we're raging along. Just passing in between Canoe Island and that Shaw. And then our side of Lopez. And nice and sunny.
It's been fun sailing. Very shifty winds in these islands here, and then the current was just grabbing us behind us. So we did kick on the engine for about 4 minutes to get through that narrow, so it was pushing us around and swirling us. But now we're quite close to Friday Harbor, so we'll just enjoy the rest of the day sailing.
All right. We're just up at almost 8 knots. So, yeah, blowing pretty good out here.
Out of Friday Harbor. Kat is on the ferry and heading home. She has work later today and is going to ride her bike from Anacortes back up to Bellingham, something like 40 miles. She does have rides on offer, so we'll see if she takes them, but I bet she'll just ride her bike because that's the kind of gal she is. Such a beautiful morning. This is just the kind of sailing you always wish for. Downwind, beam reach, that kind of stuff with sun shining. Real sweet. Going 6 knots, pretty steady here. Here comes Kat again. Following me around. I love you! Making steady progress down San Juan Channel, down to the south end of Lopez and San Juan Islands. And then I'll be out into the Strait. The current is just changing in my favor now. I'm going 5 knots right now with a pretty steady wind here, but I should be picking up as the current goes in my favor. And it's in my favor till 6 p.m., so that should be ample tide for me to work with. I'll be in Victoria well before that, I believe. A raging yacht. They have just changed direction to stay on my way, which is very nice. This has been such a nice trip after being at the dock all winter and having only done a couple little trips this spring. Just a day trip and that one to Port Angeles. This cruising around the San Juans a bit here and out into Bellingham has been just a real treat. Holster. Beelining it for Victoria. This is nuts. Going 7 knots or better the whole time so far. since I got out into the Strait. So that current is definitely helping me out, and the wave state is just fine. The current's kind of going across the wave, so it shouldn't really stack up for me. Yeah, sweet! Woo! And it's sunny out, and not too cold. Good springtime sailing. Well, I got a little spicy there for a little bit. Didn't have a chance to grab the camera, but you have to trust me on that. Got the first reef in, a bunch of Genoa rolled in. It's starting to settle down a bit here, and seas have mellowed out after being pretty choppy and splashy. But I'm just blasting across here. I think I'm only like 5 miles from Discovery Islands, so I'll be out of the wind wave here pretty soon. So far the wind is still coming from the north, so that's going to be really nice for me just to get home and maybe even for lunch. How about that? Still bombing along here, and I just noticed a black Zodiac cruising along, and it went straight for the other boat that was passing me a little while coming from the San Juan, so I wonder if they'll be visiting me next. Here they come.
So once the RCMP boat was done with the boat that had also crossed from the US, it came beelining straight to me, matched my speed, and then asked for my passport and registration. Surprisingly, they didn't ask me to reduce sail or anything like that. I offered, but I did pass my passport and registration to them while we were both sailing and motoring along, so that was pretty spicy and interesting. Next, an officer actually boarded Sea Dream of Clyde while we were underway. It was pretty impressive that they did that, and they didn't even touch my boat at all. He just was able to match my speed, and the officer hopped aboard.
I'm gonna roll into Genoa so I can slow down here. Are you happy with this? Yeah, you can pull it in if you want to slow down. Yeah. Okay, just hang. You going for it? Go for it. Okay. Right on. How you doing?
Good. Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor.
Good. Had a fun sail.
Excellent. So you were down in Roche, then?
I started the day in Friday Harbor.
So I understand you have liquor on board?
Yeah, there's bottles I already had on board when I left. I understand that you can have a bar stock on a sail on a vessel. So nothing. I bought everything in Canada. I just went for a journey and came back since I was on board.
Tobacco product?
No, no smoke.
Okay. And no cannabis products?
No cannabis products.
Okay. Any firearms on board?
No, sir.
Nothing. Now you can't put anything for anyone else?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. All right. If you made the declaration, what I'll get you to do is just present the liquor. I'll take a look at that.
Sure.
And are you okay with eating the helm here?
Yeah, I think this guy's doing a good job right now, so I'm just going to look at the chart real quick, make sure there's no outlying rocks here. You may as well just come down here, I'll show you the cabinet. Passport stuck in there.
Very good. I haven't filled it in yet.
Okay.
Pleasure, sir. Have a
Yeah,
good day.
have a good day, guys. Thanks. Well, that was interesting. They hopped right on board, had a look at my liquor. That was about it. Mostly just seemed curious, but yeah, they did whatever they do, and still got clear customs. But that was amusing. They were very cordial and friendly, so all good. Doing their job, making sure our borders are protected, I suppose. It's kind of amusing that they do this whole thing where they hop on and do it like right out at sea here, but it is what it is. I guess that way they'll catch you with red-handed because most of the time the customs doesn't even come to the dock. They just talk to you on the phone. So yeah, that was cool. Kind of. Looks like I'm gonna have a nice gentle finish to the day. Hopefully the wind just hangs on for me. If not, I'll probably just drift in, but still going 6 knots. How's that? With this current cruising along. So yeah, real nice, real nice. Here's Maple Leaf's Cascadia. Very different than the maple leaf behind it. Well, the wind briefly died, and just for like a couple minutes, and now it's switched to like southwest. So I'll take that. That'll bring me home just fine. There's the beautiful Maple Leaf cruising along. A couple freighters anchored out there in the middle of the strait. They anchor between the traffic separation zones. And there's Cascadia making a little more ground than Maple Leaf having to fight that tide. Maple Leaf Parade, there's the Swell, which is also owned by Maple Leaf Adventures. Ooh, I've just spied the first cruise ship I've seen this season, so we'll see what it looks like when I get home with gobs of tourists cruising along. Oh, I sure wish Kat was on board. It would have been such a nice sail for her to come on. But there'll be lots of time for that later. And I'm approaching Ogden Point now, where I am by law required to take the sails down. You're not supposed to sail inside the harbor. But that's just fine. The wind is dying anyway, so I should be able to sail right up to the point here, and then I'll douse the sails and turn the engine on and head on into customs and then to my slip. And that'll be it for this beautiful little trip here.
Entering the harbor and then doing my first single-handed docking in a little while went nice and smooth. It was calm and there was almost no wind right at the dock, and a nice big wide open spot to pull into. Customs took a little while. I was stuck on hold for something like half an hour, but once that was done I continued over back to my slip, tied up, and then I was informed that I was able to switch slips down to an end spot, which you'll see at the very end here with this little time lapse. Thanks so much for watching Sailing Seadrill Clyde. If you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any, and be sure to leave some comments too. I really enjoy reading them. Bye for now!